Hey guys, what is up? So I watched Daniel Preda's video and let's just get right into this. So he starts off the video by saying that, this is like a response to Gabby's video and how her video is filled with manipulation, lies, and delusion. He even goes on to say that she used her ADHD as a crutch. She used that as an excuse for her horrible, disgusting behavior. Take a listen.
Her behavior was extremely erratic, it was very rude, it was disgusting, it is not professional, and nearly everybody on set had an issue with her.
Daniel even goes on to say that he has ADHD himself and he doesn't let his mental health issues reflect who he is as a person. Now Daniel brings it back to season 2 saying that Gabbie clashed with a lot of actors because of just jealousy, and he really didn't know why she felt the need that she needed to compete with other people when they were all there just to have a good time. Now Daniel even goes on to say that Tana and Gabbie did not get along, how Gabbie was actually a bully to Tana, and Daniel says that Gabbie felt like she needed to compete with Liza. He said that Gabbie was a drama queen and he felt that she was a drama queen because she wasn't confident in herself. Now Daniel jumps to season 4 and says that he never begged Gabbie to be on season 4. Take a listen.
Gabbie in her video says that we begged her to be on the show, that Joey and I were begging her.
Joey and Daniel are like, please, we really want you to be a part of the show. We loved you in season 2.
Nobody was begging you, girl. At this point, your reputation was preceding you.
Now he dives into like Gabbie's accusations of no healthy food on set. He is bringing us, showing us the receipts.
Here it is. There's a kitchen, living room, little vanity area there in the back. And over here is a bedroom. There's a shower if you want to take a shower. There's some fruit and vegetables, some little energy supplements, seaweed snacks. These are like more healthy snacks here. And then in the fridge, I'll give you the tea on what people asked for. So we have water, Red Bull. Colleen literally only wanted Coke. We have fruit plates, veggie plate. Daystorm wanted protein drinks. As you can see, sweetie, that trailer is stunning.
What's so crazy about this is that Daniel says that, YouTube or the network gave him $500 per week for adding things to the trailer to make sure everyone, had everything that they needed. And Daniel goes on to say that him and Joey, his ex-boyfriend, they spent like $3,000 out of their pockets to make sure that the cast had everything that they needed. He does go on to say because Colleen, gave birth and was like breastfeeding on set, that she had her own trailer, which makes sense. Then he starts to talk about how they were also provided with rooms, hotel rooms, and they never had to pay for it. So if the cast wanted to stay in a hotel throughout them shooting the whole entire season, if they stayed on that long, it was free. Or if you were commuting from home, the network made sure that the cast had transportation there and from set. Then Daniel brings up the fact that Gabbie said she didn't like her outfit, but Daniel shows us this.
Here she is.
Out of breath.
Yes.
Oh my god, anytime we have to run for the challenges, I'm done
It's over.
Done for, but guess what?
Oh,
Stunning.
Wait, give a turn. Gorgeous. As you can see, she's living for it. She loved how she looked.
Okay, so I do want to note that I definitely believe every single last word that's coming out of Daniel's mouth. However, when you are filming someone and they're smiling, that doesn't mean that they're happy. I just wanted to note that. So Daniel even talks about how, I guess apparently Gabbie complained about her footwear, complained about her heels, and this is what he had to say about that.
I wish we could have had all the girls in beautiful like high heels, but the most we could do was like a kitten heel, so that's a ½ an inch to an inch. So I'm really not sure of what the complaint was about that, but I can understand if you can't walk in a kitten heel. Albeit a little confusing because even I can walk in a 6-inch heel, sweetheart.
So Daniel goes on to say that he knew this was going to be a problem because at the end of day 1, a female cast member approached him and was like, hey, can you me off as soon as possible because I know I'm gonna have a problem with Gabbie. And well, the female didn't just go to him, the female also went to Joey. And Daniel goes on to say he was already hearing stories from wardrobe, from the crew, from makeup, and he's just like, damn, now, after the first day someone is requesting to be off because of Gabbie. And then 13 minutes into the video, Daniel starts talking to us about set life, how it's a lot of hurry up and then wait, because they'll tell you, okay, we'll need you in 5 minutes, and then they'll come back 5 minutes later and say, hey, actually, sorry, we're behind, we'll really need you in like 30. So that kind of stuff. So now Daniel starts to talk about when Gabbie complained about her fitting. Gabbie said that, you know, the things didn't fit right, she broke out in hives, and Daniel says, he starts to read a text message that he had with one of the executives saying that Gabbie missed 2 out of her 3 fittings. Now feel free to pause this text message, but Daniel talks about how this executive was saying how Gabbie made this 9-month lady drive across town for the fitting, right? And then Gabbie left early, and at the end of the day, the conclusion was that her wardrobe was going to be picked for her and it may not fit. And it's so crazy because then the text message goes on to say that she canceled her fitting the day prior to, and Daniel explains that, you know, on a set, you take care of wardrobe things like weeks prior, not days prior. And even goes on to say that Bretman Rock, he actually flew in from Hawaii and made all of his fitting appointments. Oh my goodness, I have to play this clip. Take a listen to what Daniel says when Gabbie's complaining about her dress and how she broke out in hives and all this jazz.
If the necklace was causing irritation, which you're saying you're only allowed to wear sterling silver, the piece was sterling silver. So I'm very confused as to how you have pus and warts and growths or whatever all along your body. Nobody forced you to wear the necklace. The first time you had an irritation, you could have ripped the necklace off and thrown it into the woods and say, oops, I lost it.
Now Daniel starts to talk about Gabbie's food restrictions, and he goes on to say that he respects her food restrictions, but he's like, no one's gonna lie on me. Like, this is what happened, you know. Before filming, you know, the cast, they get like a shit ton of paperwork. He goes on to say that Gabbie did not fill out anything. He goes on to say, like, how am I supposed to know what she wants if she doesn't fill it out? However, I will say this though, I was reading those text messages that Gabbie showed us in her video, and I will say that Daniel was like, I got you, what do you need? So, you know, one can argue that Gabbie thought she was gonna have like one-on-one treatment, like, you are my assistant, you know, because Gabbie did, in those text messages, Gabbie did state, you know, I need food when I arrive there right away. Like, she did list those things. So I just wanted to mention that. Now Daniel does show us a text message where he's asking Gabbie, like, you know, I'm gonna be shopping for the food, what food do you want? And Gabbie responds, I need hella healthy shit. Shoot, if someone is asking me specifically what snacks, what foods do I want when I'm on set, yes, I'm about to tell them it, and I'm not paying for it either. So it was interesting to know that Gabbie had such a specific diet, but was very vague and didn't specify on what she wanted. So now we're 19 minutes into the video, and Daniel starts to read these text messages of his conversations with Gabbie. And to summarize it, Gabbie complains about when she came on set, there's no food. She blamed her agents or her camp for the reason she missed her wardrobe fittings, and blames her agent for not giving like the cast or the production her food restrictions. And the agents, they do give Gabbie's allergies, all of that jazz, but they were never really specific. I'm like, for someone who's very picky on what they want to eat, none of that was sent over. And guys, what was so mind-boggling to me is that Daniel goes on to explain that he told her in the text messages that, you know, hey, I'm gonna go to Whole Foods, I can make you some salads there. And Daniel says, look, I wasn't even gonna go to Whole Foods, I wasn't even gonna go on a Whole Foods run, but I was just trying to make the moment right, trying to calm everything down, not to have any tension. So he goes to Whole Foods, shows us this photo, and he wants to let us know that pizza, that's his pizza. He got hungry at Whole Foods, but this is what he had to say.
Also, here's a pic of the salads that I made at Whole Foods, and guess what? I brought those to set. Maybe one was eaten. She was eating everything else on set that was unhealthy, and that's not on me, baby girl, that's on you.
Guys, Daniel says that he believes Gabbie loved creating these issues on set to make it seem like she was the biggest talent on set. So guys, I kid you not, we get to 24 minutes of the video and he goes, so now we're on day 3. And I said, wait. All this happened before day 3? So before day 3, Gabbie even admitted in her video that she was blowing up at the director, the PAs, I mean, wardrobe. She just was blowing up at everyone. So they decided when they approached to day 3 that they were going to kill her off of the show. So this was going to be like a double elimination because Tana, she had another engagement with iHeartRadio the next day, so she was going to be killed off, and so was Gabbie. Then Daniel starts to dive into Tana just a little bit, saying that she wasn't the best employee season 2, like she would show up to work late all the time. But around season 4, her work ethic changed and, you know, there was a glow, he said, and that she was just great. So now Daniel starts to talk about interviews because Gabbie says or complained in her video that she would receive like a call from her manager saying, hey, you need to do interviews. You can't refuse to do interviews. So here's the tea with that. Daniel says that Gabbie would come on set, and Daniel explains that on set it's crazy. It's the hurry up and wait. You know, it's just what happens when you are working on set. So Daniel shows us a message where he's texting. It's a conversation with him and an executive. What happened was when they were ready with Gabbie, either her hair wasn't done or makeup or she was hungry. And so what would happen is that they would skip her and they would go on to another YouTuber. And so her time slot would change because she wasn't ready. So because Gabbie wasn't ready, they would give her another time slot and she would refuse because she's like, no, I was ready this whole time. So apparently that's what took place. Daniel says that was a definition of refusal to work. So YouTube got involved, her manager got involved, and that's why Gabbie was pissed because, you know, she's being told by her management, you know, you can't refuse to do interviews. Daniel says what bothered him the most was that on this set, he had friends like A-list friends doing makeup and all this jazz, and mind you, they agreed to work on the set for a lower pay because, you know, they're friends. They really wanted to make this show what it could be, and you have Gabbie disrespecting them. And Daniel goes, look, I've worked with so many celebrities. You know, when I first came to LA, I was a PA. He goes on to say, like, I could take the disrespect because I've seen a lot. But what he didn't like was Gabbie disrespecting the crew. So now after Gabbie's off, now they still have to do the key art shoot, and that's for like the billboards, that's for photos for the buses, advertisement, thumbnails, whatever, right? Daniel goes on to say that Gabbie had a meltdown before the key art shoot because she did not like her call time because she had a gym appointment. Whereas Colleen, who's breastfeeding on set, was able to make it. Now Daniel starts reading text messages again, conversations with him and Gabbie, and Gabbie complains how she had to change her schedule because I guess like production was shut down for 2 days. And who really, guys, at this point, it's like, who cares? She signed a freaking binding contract, okay? She committed herself to work on this show. So yes, she should show up. So after texting back and forth, Gabbie decided that she concluded that she was not going to attend the shoot. And then Daniel starts to play off some voice memos from Gabbie. And what she says in those voice memos is basically what you hear from her video, which I've already summarized. But this was interesting that I didn't hear her say in her video. Take a listen.
I'd like to send you the photos of the bruises and cuts from my bleeding wrist, from the rope that you guys tied around my wrist. And I sat there for literally 35 to 40 minutes.
So during one of the scenes, Gabbie was tied to a chair in the dining room of season 4, and there was somebody across the table from her that was also tied to a chair, and that was me. And I was tied with that same rope. I was tied by the same person in the exact same way. This is stunt rope. It is not real rope, but there were no cuts, there was no pus, there was no bleeding of the wrists.
So in this voice memo, Gabbie also complains about how she was cold, and Daniel was like, look, she could have worn something warmer on her, but she wanted her garnet showing. Daniel even mentions that Rosanna Pansino came to his defense on Twitter and basically confirmed everything Daniel's telling us in this video. So the conversation that Daniel and Gabbie were having before this shoot, before that key art shoot, he told us that he even questioned whether he was good at his job or not. Daniel says that Gabbie even made him cry because he was just so stressed out about the whole entire thing. So he ended up texting executives, and he shows us that, you know, she's under contract to show up. So basically, after Gabbie's lawyer threatens her, after Gabbie's manager threatens her, she shows up to the shoot. Now, this is what you need to listen to because I'm trying to summarize this as quickly as possible, but there's just some things it's like you got to listen to. It's absolutely insane, guys, but take a listen to what Gabbie sends Daniel the night before the shoot.
So later that night, I get a text from Gabbie. I'm assuming after everything happened. I'm telling you right now that if I snap, no one can say anything to me. I have to eat healthy meals at 1:30 p.m. and another at 7:30, 8 p.m. no matter what we're shooting. I'm on a very strict diet and exercise regimen, and I have to eat in those hours, and it has to be a full, healthy meal with enough calories because those are the only times I eat all day.
So it's like this, if I'm very specific about what I want to eat, when I want to eat it, get it yourself. I would get it myself. I don't understand why is it Daniel's responsibility to be your slave? I understand maybe why she may think that because Daniel was like, I got you, what do you need, and all that jazz. But at this point, when you're having this much problems, and when you already knew you were killed off of the show because you were problematic, wouldn't you just get your own shit? At this point, Postmate some sweet green. So anyways, Daniel agrees to all of this because, you know, he's trying to keep the peace. So the next day when Gabbie shows up, he said he felt like he was walking on eggshells, and everything was great until this happened. So a PA, a production assistant, came in and told Gabbie, hey, you know, you're going to be needed in 5 minutes. 5 minutes happens. The PA comes back and says, hey, it's actually going to be 20. As the PA walks away, she calls the PA a fucking dumb cunt. Daniel goes on to say that there were plenty witnesses. Like, this pisses me off. Like, Daniel says that he actually, even though they weren't done with Gabbie, he just went in and told Gabbie, hey, you know, we're done for the day. We don't really need you anymore. When in reality, they still needed her, and they just put in someone else, put them in her clothes, and called it a day. Now, Daniel then addresses when Gabbie was like, you were my friend, you came to my home and did a home makeover video with me. And Daniel's like, look, you know, after we were done shooting the show, we still needed to keep the peace because we were going to VidCon, you know, we were doing press, and he didn't want her to tarnish the show with all this drama. He wanted to just, you know what I mean? Like, he wanted to be friendly. He didn't want her to just talk all this crap about the show. Then all of a sudden, people are not going to be concerned about the show. They're going to be concerned more about the behind the scenes drama of the show. Daniel says that when he did the collaboration with her, it wasn't even a collaboration. He never had her on his channel. He adds that he also did it because he was starting to do the DIYs on his channel, and so he really wanted to get into that vibe. He mentions he really didn't want to do it but felt like he needed to. He even mentions that a popular DIY YouTuber pulled out because this person saw Gabbie's attitude and decided they did not want to film with Gabbie. And then Daniel addresses the whole Christmas party tweet. So every single year, him and his ex Joey would have an annual Christmas party. And I guess Daniel tweeted something along the lines of, so he said something like, you know, I gotta check to see who was naughty or nice this year, basically saying who gets an invitation and who doesn't. Gabbie thought that was her and texted Daniel, and Daniel said, no, it's not about you. But Daniel told us he did not invite Trisha Paytas or Gabbie Hanna because they were both problematic, and, you know, this party is supposed to be fun. You know, he didn't want to have people feel uncomfortable at his party. And then Daniel goes on to say these words.
I have never been a shit talker. I never start shit, but I will finish shit. And you know what? I am quick to check a bitch when she's out of line. And Gabbie, you are extremely out of line.
The shade. So anyways, after this, Daniel reads a letter that he wrote to Gabbie saying that her actions will not be forgiven. She's burning bridges, and he really hopes that she gets the help that she needs. Daniel goes on to say he's just not going to talk about this anymore. If people will ask him in interviews and stuff, he'll talk about it, but he's done. Like, this was it. And yeah, it should be. It was an hour-long video. I believe every single thing Daniel said. I think if you were this dramatic with your health and your food and stuff, bring your own shit. I believe him when he says that Gabbie was very insecure, not confident in herself, so she acted out so she can look like she was the talent on set. And what was so crazy to me was that Daniel said that Gabbie was jealous of Liza Koshy, and I just don't get why she's gonna have a good time. It's like, if you didn't want to do it, then don't do it. You know what I mean? Like, why make it a miserable time? I honestly believe that she's delusional. And I was really trying not to say that word. I really was. I was like, let me go this whole entire series not saying that word. But yeah, those are my thoughts, guys. Leave a comment below, though. Let me know what you think. Now I'm off to watch Gabbie's other videos that I took a break from. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be covering her whole entire series, regardless if she's right or if she's wrong, just because I want to hear two sides to a story, even though I think Gabbie has made a lot of this up just to, I don't know, make herself feel better. I don't know, but leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you on the next video. Bye, guys.